my baby Deja with Trinity because she's a higher ego, you see. So her father like raised her really good. So some people they have quick babies and name it Diamond Trinity and they'll be socially secure to get more power than other schizophrenic people in the community. Because like if you had money you would mention a girl because like what if a gay baby was brown face mixed with light skinned, it would be really it would be like dropping the N in the name and I wouldn't name it Trinity but I would name it an ancient character versus like a structure name. It's like and naming an apple is not named a dust and a pear is not named a substance. So if I have a baby I wouldn't name it Dusty Trinity, I would name it Security Kingdom Bone, you see. So sometimes when someone names people like names that is like a certain way, they say that they're trying to scam people because they're trying to make it directed to a people when they say that the Deja she can't be seen because they claim that she doesn't have baby's name Trinity because she'll be like I want to name it Amanda because she's socially secure of her level when people are trying to scam them and say that they can't have a baby because a girl will say oh it's God because it will be like a light skinned baby. But it's like sometimes if I get into a different domain, some people will say, why didn't you mention the girl when you had money? Because some girls will be like, they'll be like a German woman will take care of a man differently because she could grab a nigga because she has more power to name her babies things with like an E and an I. I had this speech on Sunday in 2020. She could name her baby something like an Alpha E, a Eloise, Eleanor. It's like a European American influence freedom through food and fruits. You see, so sometimes when there's like a kingdom bonus, like a transacted medal of three kingdoms, versus sometimes when a girl has a small head, you'll be like if I drop the E in the character and then there's another girl that's not in the same box, the girl will say, what if the baby turned out to be in between the black of the girl's name and in between the light skin of my name, but she was brown in the face for herself? The lady from her own name will drop from mine, but she'll say, oh, we see, because it's like to love is different than a squeeze, you see. So a girl will just be a young girl, but if she's 28 years old, she might even still be the same female. But sometimes when girls run around the house, it's very attractive, but like it's for alpha male, you have to get a female who like puts a girl in line, you see. So sometimes people will be, hey, we see, because it's like, you ain't no danger. But like, you have to get, like, as a man, you have to get women who like to go for walks, but they're nowhere to be found because, like, what if someone sees something and they're like, oh, I remember the airline pilot because they be proud, you see. So yeah, I'm cubby. Sometimes when you bring Alvin and Marcus, you might get someone like Shamar. It's just a character, right? So he's not really like that handsome, but for film, people will put Megan Good, even though people like Rika, they'll be like, hey, I kind of see her, right? But for the values of that little small acute image, God wanted to show that if a girl has a baby, have it with a big lip, have it with a big eye, like the sister, so that they fit in, so they could be actors and they might not even want to be on recording and shit. So some people, if they have a Spanish baby like Jasmine, to some people will have dark skinned mothers. So girls love black friends, but they also are demons because they like street fighters, so they like powerful men. You see? So a woman wants an ISO, she doesn't want a tribe of people. So if I have a baby, yeah, I lost the thing, but I still have the same genes when I was 14 because it will be tick, but it might be a brown face baby. I never really thought about Drea Michelle and Alicia Keys and Sue Thomas, Susan Boyle, and Shirley Temple. You see, so sometimes I have like straight hair. I have a nice head shape, so I could get woman from Trinity's area. I could get woman from Jarcorp's area, but they're still going to be the same girl named Jasmine in Trinity. That I see the difference because when it's Whitney Houston, she doesn't get Alicia Keys, and then Ella May, she doesn't get Trinity. Georgia Smith, she might get a Mac attack because she's into Europeans, because she'll run away because she sees shit coming where she'll say that she's like Romy because other girls, they're solid more than Rika, but they go to church because they relate to a friend. Where a girl will say, why is it that I like Maurice more than movie stars? Because like it's something about him that it's like Sean McGee mixed with Chris Brown, middle name Maurice, where they'll say, oh, I can have a baby that's like Trinity, you see. So some woman will dream of naming their baby Trinity because it's the final Whitney Houston, Indiana, where you don't find those unless they're from Chicago, you see. So some people will try to name their baby Indiana India, but real black people, they who are in council, they might have a light-skinned dad or a black dad that remembers someone like a light-skinned baby, because they claim that when black men name the baby Trinity, they'll be like, it's a different reason. It's like the Godhead, because they can beat Damon, they could beat Teferi, and they're really certified on the location where they grow up, because people will say we see, because when I go to Brenneman, it was before CTC. When I go to Skokie, a girl with a small head will be from a house where she'll play video games and she'll be like, oh, it's God, because it's funny because but it's like sometimes women, they have to laugh because they like different things. But an alpha male, he has to see shit coming, because someone, like, what if someone try to evict someone and they had like a German grandma? It was like he had to stay in council because it's funny, you see. So I could get a lot of men, but it's like it will get spiritual because there's people who women never even seen before in their life, you see, from age 14 and age 17. So when people try to open my eyes, especially at age 17, they don't realize I already seen things in my mind, that they'll be making depictions of things they never seen in their life. You see, I didn't even use my imagination. These are things that come from when I was 14, before 9. So I can name things that people on this app list, apps and programs that people never even knew existed, with systems and functions of different systems of history and science that people never even witnessed before, like a Nintendo game that was released in the 1800s, but people never even knew that it was made. So sometimes when it's me, like, girls get irritated for people who do science. But it's like, sometimes that's why when women make exceptions, like to get married, you could have a love squeeze bone, but you could have like a baby mama bone, and it will be like, because the baby was produced, like I could like take the baby to not Wisconsin. So when German women exist, like Bosnians, whoa. So people will see like someone like El Mike, and I'll be like, wow, she could be Deja, because like, you see, so she has a small head, but Trinity will be mentioned after El Mike. But she'll see Elmick and she'll say, you're so pretty. So she'll stare at her for 3 seconds, because Elmick, she doesn't see Elmick, but she sees the tribe that Elmick will name her baby, like something like Bosnia. She'll name it the E, because she'll know that like she'll be in council, you see. So some woman get to name the baby something like, what is it called? Nestor and Nefertiti. Esther is something that was from this domain, but from a different location, something from Trinity, something like a Bible name that was in the thing. So when Deja pretty, but Mike also has smaller acute eyes, you see. So she could be even if she's black. So on the black side, your girl will turn into a little girl, but she's still a black girl who turns these into a hot pink, you see. So sometimes when niggas get a certain way, people will be like, some babies do that, because you'll be like, wow, I want a girl like if I had money, you see. So sometimes when people talk about conditions and things, oh, what if I was still young? Like a black girl with a skinny head, but when it's Almeg, that might bring the tribe a whole much more than Shamegi. And it might be like, I can't go back from Almeg, because if I was honest, she has light blue eyes that's bluer than people that I ever seen, you see. So sometimes when people say she might be a Bosnian, some black people, they might be able to get away with a name that is first string, you see. So sometimes when people put a name like Maurice, they be like, oh, I do my name justice, join the Air Force. So a lot of people get offended when they claim they're not on record. At a time they try to isolate a nigga saying they couldn't get a baby a certain name because you have to be on council. So sometimes when it's my dad, like as an alpha male for the race and not the nation, and for the location, some German woman, they like to go to Canada because they like to see bears and berries. They like when bears eat berries. So sometimes when niggas take a shit, when after they eat an apple, when a girl says, oh, I could get you healthy, you have to be like, Almacar, you see, it's a PE teacher. So sometimes people will say, oh, why is this Maurice head got bigger? Because they bulge it out in the psych hospital, because they claim that when I was going to get a baby, it's not that. It's sometimes for someone like Maurice, a baby is not that important, even if the girl has a small head, unless she's a black girl like Whitney Houston and like Mariah Carey, you see. So sometimes when it's people might not want to have a baby with her, but they might want to like jive with her for 30 years of poetry in Canada and riding down a roadway up north and not going to local American map cities inside of a presidency or outside of a thing. So sometimes women will be like, hey, I do love Maurice. He could be my boyfriend, but I want to show him that I could be a political, I could go to a university because I don't want people to think that when I'm beautiful, I want to show that I can make myself beautiful by being able to like make some woman used to work at the shoe store with the air, and they used to do economics. They used to be smart. I used to be like, oh, how did they get their vendors? How did they get their store? Because some people have different intelligences. When German women, they don't study science unless they're put in a frame where they'll be like, if you can't even know what you're going to name your kid, then you don't even know like what frame. So I think it was something like a E for the eighth an E for the eighth Nefertiri, Esther for under Nefertiri, something with an E and a Nefertiri. It's something like a Persia, definitely a line for Veronica. It will be 3 names down, and there will also be named the kid Jasmine as an American P. It's the 3rd child. So sometimes a nigga will name Poncho, and I'll be like, yeah, he looks like Poncho, because like, like see, because this guy, because sometimes when niggas name the kid, he looks black, but like if he went to Social Security, he would be named Poncho because like he looks like Poncho, you see. But for a nigga like me, like sometimes different brothers from David, he could have looked, he didn't really look. So people will say, they will try to say my eye like Joseph, but if someone named Poncho, it's like you have to turn it to light brown color, you see, light brown gold, you see. So Poncho, it could mean Ponce de Leon, because someone might say, hey, I want to be light brown gold with light brown eyes, you see. It's gay, because I think someone might have had light brown eyes in the family, you see. So sometimes people, they don't want to leave Glenview, and they would have to like grab up Wisconsin and go down and like go to the city. So when I went to South Shore, I want to get Trinity, you see. So I imagine like Trinity would be at the gas station, so there would be that as the gas because they like because she could be dangerous, you see, in a spiritual battle without a mink, because she has a small head. So people relate it to a domestic as inside a house after 2004. But when I think about it, when I was 2009 and 2004, I've also wanted a jasmine bone, so that could become before the N and the E. Trinity could become from the N and the E. Vanessa and Veronica, not in alphabetical order, arranging the index of a different kingdom, of a different year of science, of whatever alphonomics relate to the level of 1, 2, 3 order alphabet versus the index of connections of organizations of names of societies inside a box, outside of a frame of names, of arrangement of those names, and the power level and the race level of an NE, a Mexican NE versus a kingdom. And then a light NE would be inside a box of a frame of a movie or a video game when the guy from the thing. So I might be a little chubby, and that's just part of sociality without my mom. And German raspberries from the Target would be, sometimes people don't realize, to live in Skokie and have a lot of access to these markets and not be a scammer and get a Nintendo Switch and a box game from a corporation that might make different video games besides something that Nintendo tries to put a bound around in secret outside of a Samsung and a Google, of the technologies that people are really intelligent, especially when you mention top populations in the world and the authors of these orders of the nations of the government that relates to the processing industries of these areas of companies that produce these types of different merchandise inside different merchandise of economics of how these places are sold in the state outside of the Texas of the city, you see. So sometimes when I come to Skokie, I'll eat apples. I used to run for at least 3 miles a piece, have my 3-year job before I started my walks, because I had to keep in motion, because my psyche has to be able to maintain a 3-hour walk, 3-hour run there, and then a 3-hour run back, you see. So sometimes I did my 24 walk, 2024 right now, something 24, 87, 442, 1614, Steve House, Glenview, 1414 placement, because it will be 2 bags of 1414 versus 87, all the 24 North placement beginning of the year, and then 2013 placement before 1614, 442, because I get a little economical when I make my video files and my things about reviving light-skinned people with hazel eyes. Is not really necessary for Whitney Houston, you see. But like just say like, what if you mix Whitney Houston with Nicole? You'll be like, okay, people will say it does matter because it's a light skinned nigga and a woman with a small head. With my, if you put a boat in, nigga, it's not gonna work. But if you put a nigga with a nice head shape, some people will get offended when people might be a little boating themselves. So sometime when the firehouse after the sofa says it's funny because if you put Marvel versus Agent Dope, it's funny because it'll work because that's why people would say we see. Because I know my heart, because I know that when it was Damaris and Candace is a nice name, you see. But it's just that like people wonder why is it not skinny like Damaris? Why is it not lacy lips? Why is it not the thing? She's it's funny. This guy because he's funny, but it's just this guy. But you just have to lay low because sometimes like men exist. So I'm a black man, you see. So my dad, part of the reason why he got my mom as a wife because she was a worker and he seen something about her that she would collect items related to her spirituality. So he recognized the grandma and his mother, so they got married and shit. So they lived in the Virgin Islands as a radical instead of getting a economized apartment and marriage under a church, because some people will say that men get aggressive when they have women shit. So like people don't see things coming, because like what if a girl was like there and she didn't make love in the way that she wants to make it, she would turn into a nymph, you see. So sometimes like that's why people have to acknowledge girls who are smaller than the sheets, who have more power, but a girl will still say, hey, I'm like Mother Mary, because some girls might be a Christian, you see. So you'd be like, but girls are still